From origin to legend.
I need to become a symbol. I need to become Batman.
Become the hero.
Someone's gotta step up.
Build a legacy.
Let's get to work. You wanna get nuts? Let's get nuts. I'm allergic to nuts.
Lego Batman, Legacy of the Dark Knight.
This is my favorite part.
Available May 22nd on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC.
Rated E10 for ages 10 and up.
So good, so good, so good.
Everything you want for summer is at Nordstrom Rack stores now, and up to 60% off. Stock up and save on the brands you love like Vince, Sam Edelman, Frame, and Free People. Join the Nordy Club to unlock exclusive discounts, shop new arrivals first, and more. Plus, buy online and pick up at your favorite Rack store for free. Great brands, great prices. That's why you Rack.
Alright, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on that more. People putting thousands of hours into a video game. And I can understand if you're doing it, like, if it was a multi-year period and that's how you ended up with thousands of hours into a video game. But if a video game came out in the recent years, right? And I feel like a lot of different video games have came out, and I understand where if you pick and choose that one game where you just put so many hours into it, where it can equal up to that. Fam, I've been playing video games all my life, pretty much. All my life. And I cannot think of a video game where I've put thousands of hours into it. I think for the most part, I've probably have reached, if we're adding both like console and PC, because there are some games that I have on both console and PC, like Destiny for an example, I know I've easily surpassed the 100-hour mark. But that's over like a almost 10-year period, because there are a lot of different video games that came out over the years and stuff. Because yeah, Destiny 2, I think that game came out in 2017. Hold on for a second. Let me make sure of it. I just don't want to get my years and all that stuff all messed up and things. But no, let's see. The fact that they call it a free to play game, it was or pay to play, and there's like it's not free to play. Free to play is when you can turn this game on and start playing it, like Warframe for an example. But no, Destiny is not a free to play game. It's free to download, but as far as like, so it did come out in 2017. Okay, so but yeah, overall though, I put a lot of hours into this game on Xbox, and I put a lot of hours into it on PC. That's the thing though. There is, they have like some story, it has some lore, it has some things that you can follow, but other than that, I would have to say, like, there really wasn't a reason, like, after you beat the story, like, you could put all the DLCs in the base game, like, when it originally was Destiny 2, not this new edition of Destiny 2, but you can add all of the content that they've added into Destiny over the almost 10-year period, and, yeah, it's just, there's nothing I guess in that game that's worth putting thousands of hours into. Like, I never looked at Destiny as one of those games. Now, I'm not going to say that it's a bad game. I just think that the sense of direction that they went down with that game, yes, it did make it into a bad game, because the game was good when it came out. But yeah, when you look at it, it's like you guys got rid of the original content in this game, and nobody even tell you guys to do that. So you can come out with these overpriced DLCs where it's pretty much, it ain't even a DLC. Like, I don't even know what to call that, but I'm like, imagine an artist charging you full price for an album, but they only put out like 2 or 3 songs. That's pretty much what a Destiny DLC is nowadays. Back then, and I remember when Destiny 1, when it came out, and the DLCs that they were adding into that game, it was literally an expansion to the game. What they got going on now, I'm like, nah, bro, it's not an expansion. It's pretty much you going down a, like, so like, let's say for an example, you take a trip to, or not even that, you're from downtown Seattle. You've explored all of downtown Seattle, and they pretty much just open up like a small little corner store. That's equivalent to a Destiny DLC, is just that small little corner store that just had their grand opening in downtown Seattle. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, man, Destiny, that's one of those games where I'm like, I don't understand its failure, you know. But at the same time, you know, when you got companies like Bungie running that game, yes, then you can partially understand their failure. But anyways, no, getting back to this, you know, putting thousands of hours into a video game and stuff, because we really got to sit down and think of a lot of different video games out there. Now, I understand if a person has a video game addiction, but it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you got to go outside, get you some fresh air, you know, you're going, because the thing is, games don't have like no replayable content to where you could put thousands of hours into it, unless it's one of those games where they make it seem like that it's there's like a promising side once when you've either completed the game, or if it's a multiplayer game and then you have to like build your character or team, whatever the case is, up, you know, you have to build them up. But still though, no game in this day and age, I feel like that it's worth the thousands of hours that you put into it. And I know a lot of people will probably be like, oh, I easily put thousands of hours into this game. Yeah, games like Counter-Strike, where it's been out for years, like that game's been out since, I'm trying to think, when did Counter-Strike Global Offensive come out? Hold on for a second. I know they're calling it like Counter-Strike 2 right now, but hold on for a second. Let me see when exactly this game came out. They say OS X, PS3, Windows. It came out in 2012? I don't know. Why do I feel like the game, it came out before, and then they finally had released it on console. Because I remember when the game came out on console. I actually had bought it on console, but it just wasn't really a game that I was interested in, you know. And I know that's one thing I feel like I need to make clear, is that all gamers are different. There are some gamers that will put hours upon hours into a video game, and then there's some gamers where it's like you just kind of casually play the game. My thing is this, and I get like if you're playing the game for competitions and all that stuff, that to me, that will make sense. I feel like that's another reason on why you will put thousands of hours into a video game, if you're trying to do competitions, or the game is really that good to where, like, let's say for an example, No Man's Sky. That's a video game where I feel like you can put thousands of hours into it, because there's so much to explore. There's so much to, you know, like from discovering planets for the first time, and they made it to where it's like, yeah, it's possible, or it would make sense on why you would put thousands of hours into that game. But there are games out there, like, for an example, The Division. The last, you know, the comment where the guy was like, oh, he put 2,000 hours into the game. And I'm like, that's not a game that you put thousands of hours into. Because my thing is this. I've put...
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Ready to soundtrack your summer? With Red Bull Summer All Day Play, you choose a playlist that fits your summer vibe the best. Are you a festival fanatic, a deep end DJ, a road dog, or a trail mixer? Just add a song to your chosen playlist and put your summer on track. Red Bull Summer All Day Play. Red Bull gives you wings. Visit redbull.com/brightsummer ahead to learn more. See you this summer.
I think they said I put like 90-something hours into that game, and that's just talking on the PC version. There is the console version where I don't know how many hours I put into that game, but I know it was a lot. If I have to put that many hours into the game, and there's still a good more than half of the armor and weapons that I have even unlocked yet, it's a waste of time. And I know there's going to be a lot of people trying to defend that. There ain't no defense for that. It's a waste of time. My thing is this, when I'm playing a video game, I'm trying to progress. I'm trying to get things that I deserve, but having it where I'm not even playing the game because it's fun. I'm playing the game because I'm grinding in it. No, that's not, people can try to defend that and make it seem like that's how gameplay is. That's how it's always been. Nah. And that's the thing where if there's games out there where they're that good, like Grand Theft Auto 4, for an example, I had played that game multiple times. Saints Row 2, I played that game multiple times. Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, might have never beaten it, but that was a game where because it was like there were so many different things that you can do in that game. I was like, bruh, this game, that's why I had to say games like the ones that I named off, why they get looked at as legendary games. People still to this day talk about Saints Row 2, saying that was probably peak Saints Row content. So was Saints Row 2. Saints Row 1, I didn't play too much of it to have an opinion on it, but 3, 4, and that new one that they came out with, people, they don't even talk on that new one. That new one, I think they said that was the downfall of Saints Row. Saints Row 3 and 4, I mean, it was kind of continuing off, but it just seemed like they kind of got a little bit too ahead of themselves, making it where the main character is president of the United States and stuff. And it's like, why is a gang member president of the United States? Like, y'all just kind of got a little bit, Fast and Furious-ified or something, where it's like, you just start doing things where I'm all like, how is that even possible? How is that even... Like, how did that even get into the story? Like, what part did I miss where they started making gang members into like presidents and, political figures and things? Yeah, that's all. I was like, Saints Row, that was one of those games where I'm like, it started off good. I never played 1, but I have heard good things about it. But 2, in my opinion, that was probably the best. Saints Row 2 was probably the best Saints Row game of all time. Like, that was a game where I didn't mind playing it all over again. Like, and same with Grand Theft Auto 4. Same with, I'm trying to think of some other games where I've played them multiple times. But I know, like, when Destiny 1 and The Division 1, when them games came out, those were games where it's like it was that good to where you can play it multiple times. But nowadays, I feel like that if you're playing a game and you're putting thousands of hours into it, it's not because the game is fun. Yeah, it's an easy game to play, but I feel like it has a lot to do with you trying to grind for stuff in games. But I can't think of a game, and even the games that I did name off, I haven't put no thousands of hours into those games, but I can understand why I would. But if the game, my thing is this, if all I'm doing is trying to grind for a weapon skin, a weapon, what else? And and then it's like I'm having to play the same missions and do the same stuff over and over and over again. There ain't nothing fun with that. I'm working at that point, and I'm not trying to work when playing the video game. I don't mind putting in work, but at the same time, if I'm out here putting in 9 to 5 hours into a video game, fam, there ain't nothing fun with that. And I really do wish that people would understand that, but I just think that there are a lot of people out there where it's easier to defend those types of video games versus, because I think that's what it is that people realize that they have wasted their time with those games. Because when I look at video games like Counter-Strike, for an example, and I'm not trying to say anything bad about Counter-Strike, but I think one of the main reasons on why people play that game a lot is because of like grinding for different weapon skins where you can sell them. And I think you can make some hard-earned cash by doing that. Now, how long will it take? Because hold on for a second. I wonder if there's people, they probably don't have like no thing where you're capable of seeing how many hours people done put into the game besides the reviews. But no, let's overall see something real quick. The review section, 299 hours. Somebody put over 600 hours into the game. 1,310 hours. All right, let's see what this person has to say. So this person, he goes on to say, it doesn't look like he's talking on anything about the gameplay itself. It looked like he's like, I guess, like telling players how to act. But he goes on to say, be respectful of others and avoid conflict, prioritize fun, and camaraderie or camaraderie. I think that's how you say that word. Anyways, regardless, when you lose or play poorly, analyze your mistakes and focus on your improvement without blaming yourself. Communication with your teammates and playing strategically are key to winning. Don't forget to use your microphone. He's pretty much giving you an instruction manual. Like, this is the type of stuff that you tell an employee when they're starting off for the first day. And it's like, and that's what I'm saying. You're putting in working hours into this game. That's why that guy put over 1,000. He's put 1,310 hours into this game. And I'm like, it gets to a point where I don't know. Like, are you just blind to the gameplay, or is the gameplay that bland to where it's like there ain't nothing to talk about. But essentially what Counter-Strike is, for those that don't know, you go into a game and you pretty much shooting the other enemies and stuff. There ain't no other modes besides that. They might have different ways of playing PvP modes, but other than that, if you're expecting a story, if you're expecting like I'm trying to think of some video games, but I guess like video games where they got a lot of different ways of playing it, a lot of content, like something like Grand Theft Auto for an example, where it's like I think they just recently added some stuff in there where you can now be a firefighter, you could be a delivery person, you can operate a forklift, like there's all these different, and then there's the heist missions, then there's the regular missions, then there's the campaign, then there's the Rockstar editor. Yeah, they don't have all that different type of stuff, and I can understand why a person will put thousands of hours into Grand Theft Auto or Grand Theft Auto 5, because they have a lot of content in there where it's capable of putting down. If you're a creative person, then yeah, you know, and you're making Rockstar editor videos and stuff, then I can understand why you're doing that. But a game that only has one mode and you're putting thousands of hours into that one mode, yeah, you're not doing that because the game is fun. You're doing that because the game is easy to play. But overall though, it ain't no different than working a 9-to-5 job. And that's why I'm like, man, you know, I don't play video games to work. Like if that's the case, then I'm like, fam, I'm gonna need to start getting me a paycheck if I'm playing this game, you know, if I'm putting in work and stuff in it. But anyways, let me see if there's anybody else that's put a lot of hours into this game. For the most part though, it looked like everybody done put a lot of hours into the game, but it's not people really talking on the gameplay itself. I guess like there's this one. Oh, there was like, okay, so it looked like this one, they got 9,000 hours. Okay, so Counter-Strike 2 is a fantastic game if you enjoy getting screamed at by a 14-year-old so he's just kind of making fun of people while being flashbang into another dimension. I loaded in for a couple of matches, and suddenly it was 4 a.m. My mental health was gone, and I was like, that's another thing too, where I'm like, I have to admit that type of like playing a game for thousands of hours and there ain't really a whole lot of different stuff that you can do in there, you're just doing the same thing, that has to be bad on a person's mental. I sit down thinking about it. Like, there's been times where I've played games and like, yeah, when you're a kid and stuff, like, you don't really have like no concept of time, like, and so yeah, you can play a video game for multiple hours and stuff. But as I gotten older and I realized that there is a lot of games out there that are just not good, yeah, no, I was all like, that's why for the most part you'll see where I put maybe a certain amount of minutes into a game, and I'm like, if this game hasn't gotten me convinced within them certain amount of minutes, I'm leaving it alone. And I'm like, until they get their act together on whatever it is that's wrong with the game. But I'm like, no, I'm not fooling with this game. And so, but I know there are going to be a lot of people out there trying to defend it. And I'm like, fam, there ain't no defense for that. When you're putting in thousands of hours into a video game, you're ruining your mental health. And then what else? And then it's just like, there ain't no content. And even if my thing is this, even if there is a lot of content in that game still, there ain't no reason to put thousands of hours into a video game. It's like, if that's the case, you gotta be getting paid. You gotta be become a content creator, do something, you know. But anyways, yeah, I'm like, I think that's probably how some of those video game addictions start. People be putting all them hours into the game, and it's like, bro, I hope you're having fun, because if not, then I'm like, man, and it seems like that's another thing too nowadays with games. The only way that you can actually have fun with it is if you're playing the game with friends. But if you ain't playing the game with friends and you're playing it by yourself, yeah, no, it might be best to find a game that's more so designed for single player use and things, because there are some games out there where, yeah, you can play it by yourself. It's just not going to be as fun as it is playing it with friends and stuff. Because when you look at video games like Marvel Rivals, for an example, I played that game by myself. Wasn't really a fan of it, but when I had played it with my friends, we're cracking jokes, having fun. Fortnite, that's a game where I'm like, I feel like that's where you can possibly put thousands of hours into the game, but the game is actually decent because they have a lot of different content in there and stuff. So, but yeah, if a game, even then, still, I ain't putting no thousands of hours into it and stuff. I might have been playing it for years, but there are other games that I am fooling with. I guess like if they add it up all together, then yeah, there's probably is a thousands of hours that I'm putting into gaming altogether, but just one game by itself, nah. I'm like, there ain't no game that's it's that fun, you know. Even the ones that are the best sellers, greatest games of all time, still, I ain't putting no thousands of hours into it. So, but anyways, with that being said, I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service, and peace.